Hi, welcome back with another movie explanation. Today, I'm going to explain a thriller film called Vacancy. Spoilers ahead. Watch out and take care. The film opens with a married couple, David and Amy, who are returning home from David's parents' anniversary party. On their way home, they get lost in an empty road where no one is seen as far as the eyesight goes. David still drives the car in the hope they find the right route to their home. After a while, David does not find the way back and they are completely lost. They had to stay somewhere for the night. After driving a few more miles, suddenly a raccoon jumps on the road. David tries not to hit it and the car stops due to engine failure. Amy wakes up from the nap scared. Both Amy and David seem to be irritated by something. They might be irritated with each other because they were facing problems in their relationship. After a while, they find a motel. There is no one around it. Not a single person is seen near the hotel. It's quite ominous to look at, but they don't have an option other than going into the motel to stay for the night, so that they can continue their journey the next morning. While they're in the lobby of the motel, they hear a woman screaming. Amy thinks they should leave and tells David that, but he doesn't listen to her. There was no one at the reception to give them a room. They wait for a while and they ring a bell. After this, the manager, whose name is Mason, comes to the reception and tells them that the screaming was from the TV. You don't have anything to worry about. David asks Mason if he can use the phone, but Mason says no and tells him no one will come this far to take you, so you might as well stay here for the night. Mason offers them a room for half the price. David says okay, he will stay and take the room. After going into the room, Amy and David find a lot of things weird. While they were sitting on the bed to relax, someone knocks on the door heartily. After hearing this, Amy and David are scared. David goes to see who was at the door and finds no one there. After closing the door, David and Amy hear strong thuds on the door again. David goes to check, but there's no one at the door. They realize that the sounds are from the next door. After this, David goes to Mason and complains about him with the sounds. Mason tells David that there's no one staying in this hotel other than you two. I don't know where the sounds are coming from. The rooms next to your room are locked from the outside. Mason tells David, I'll take care of it, please go to your room. When David goes back to the room, he's bored, so he switches the TV on and puts the videotapes in the player in the room. While watching the tapes at first, David thinks it's a horror film tape because two people are tortured, raped, and killed in the tape. But after a while, he realizes that the drapes in the videotape match the drapes of the room they are in. After this, he compares every object in the video with the object in the room. All of them match: the bed, the couch, and other things. Immediately, both Amy and David realizes that the room in the video is the same as the room they are in. After this, David searches the whole room and finds hidden cameras hooked in the room in many places. They talk to each other about the motel, that this motel is used to make homicide movies and it is a setup for snuff films. They are scared to death and try to leave that place by going out the bathroom window, but every exit in the room was locked or nailed, so that the people who come into the room does not leave the place. David and Amy come out the door and try to escape by running towards the jungle. But in the jungle, there are two masked men looking at David and Amy, and they come running back to the room to be safe from the masked men. David thinks of going to the phone booth he saw when they entered the motel and thinks of calling 911 from that phone. David goes and makes a call to 911, but surprisingly, Mason answers the call and sends someone to attack him in the phone booth. Someone comes to the car and hits the whole phone booth. In an attempt to escape the attack, David runs back into the room. Mason cuts the electricity, so they won't be able to see anything in the dark. They close the door tight and sit in the corner holding a piece of glass for the protection from anyone who might come into the room. Now they hear the sound of a large truck outside in the parking lot and start yelling for help, but the driver of the truck is one of Mason's customers, who came to buy the snuff film or homicide film videotape. Everything around the hotel is set up in such a way that no one who comes there won't be able to escape because of the traps that are placed around by Mason and his accomplices. In fact, Mason and his accomplices put the videotape in the room of the people who come there to let them know that they are going to be the next ones. Knowing the fact about the motel, anyone who's in the motel starts running to try to escape. All of this is recorded by Mason. The more gruesome a video, the more money it is sold for. Mason sells these tapes to psychopaths who like this sort of stuff. The next scene, David and Amy find a secret tunnel in the bathroom and try to escape through the tunnel. David and Amy are now in the tunnel, but they come out of Mason's office, where a lot of monitors are set up to see and record what is done to the customers in the motel. Amy calls 911 from the phone in the office, but before she could tell the emergency number anything about the situation, They hear Mason coming back to his office, so they hang up the call and go back to the tunnel they came from. Mason somehow knows they made a call to 911. He gets angry, he cuts the phone lines and orders his accomplices to go kill them. While going through the tunnel, David finds another passage outside. They go through the passage and escape out of the motel and hide in the garage and close the door tightly. After the unsuccessful distress call, the local sheriff comes to the motel. He checks all the rooms and becomes suspicious of Mason. Meanwhile, Amy and David go to the sheriff and ask him to help them. He agrees to it and takes them into his cop car, but the vehicle is damaged by the killer, so they won't be able to leave. The killers come and kill the sheriff. They could have killed both Amy and David, but they don't kill them because they want to have fun with them while recording the video. They hide in the room holding onto their lives. David covers all the cameras in the room to make Mason blindsided of what's happening inside. After this, David tells Amy to hide in a compartment in the ceiling and goes to Mason's office to get a revolver, but David faces bad luck when one of the killers comes and stabs David. The killer doesn't know where Amy is. The sun comes up and Amy tries to escape. She comes out of the ceiling and starts running towards a car, but the killer chases her to a car and tries to kill her through the sunroof. Amy loses patience and hits the car into a room in the motel where the other killer is. Both the killers die. Even the killer on the sunroof died due to the force of the impact. After this, Amy goes into Mason's office and takes out the revolver and shoots him 3 times. Mason dies instantly. Amy makes a call to 911 and tells them to send an ambulance and cops to the location. She goes back to see David to see how he's doing. By God's grace, he is alive but has lost a lot of blood. Finally, they get saved and the film ends here. Subscribe for more videos like this. Turn on notifications and leave a like to help the channel out. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to let me know how you feel about today's video in the comments down below. Stay safe and never forget, you are awesome.